Well, hello there, my Scorpio collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Welcome to your soulmate reading for December-ish 2019, but timeless. I'm finding all of my videos are timeless. People are like watching them from months ago and contacting me, so they're timeless. Welcome to my channel. If you are new, I am your reader for the moment, Mark Angelo Lyons, Mal for short. President of Join the Circle Productions, professional witch, professional intuitive, and very happy to be doing these readings for you today. If you are new to my channel, please do like and subscribe, making my way to 1,000 subscribers so that I could do super live chat and the occasional drunk tarot. There's a link in the box below if you're interested in finding out what drunk tarot is. I don't have to explain it here now. Also, I rebooted my Facebook group. If you are interested, it is a closed Facebook group. No one can see that you are in it. It is called Mark Angelo Lyons Mel for short. I mean, really easy to find. And there's a link for that in the box below. I marked down my ebook for the month of December. I have 2 of them, Spell Ingredients, which is lovely. That's just $10. And the 1 Words of Grace from a Professional Witch, which I was writing this time last year. We launched it at Yule, winter solstice last year. So I marked it down from $24.95 to $14.95 so that y'all could get some grace. Really, it's a wonderful book. People are telling me I wrote it in the midst of a dark night of the soul. Really pulled me through, if not out of, a dark night of the soul. So may it be a blessing unto you and all that you use it for. Because grace isn't just for us. The more we give it away, the more we have it. Just how that rolls. Cool, cool. A couple of things before we get into the reading itself. This is a general read. That's why I'm doing Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs, so you can check your other signs. They're running around 45 minutes each, these reads, only pulling from 5 different decks. So relatively quick for a soulmate read. So soulmates are pre-incarnational agreements, soul contracts that you make with other beings before coming into this incarnation to help each other heal. That is the foundation of the soulmate contract. However, the soulmate contract in that content, if you like, in that the content of the contract, a little hard to say, can be in any relationship form, not just romantic, sexual, can be family, can be friends, but these readings are focused specifically on the romantic, intimate, sexual partnership kind of soulmate contracts. The happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, loving, intimate sexual romantic partnerships that a lot of us have been working towards lifetime after lifetime. Remember, psychology didn't exist for thousands of years. So we might still be clearing some of that stuff up with karmic relationships, preparing us for really the satisfying, symbiotic, sympathetic, they say satisfying, yeah, sensual, sexual, a lot of S words, soulmate contracts, cool, cool. Please do remember to breathe. I am doing my best to be consciously aware of my breathing process. It slows me down. It lets the information come through with much more ease, grace, and clarity. So if you are doing the same, you're tuning yourself to the exact same chi, prana, grace, guidance that I am, right? I guess that is about it for right now. Something pops up, I'm sure they'll tell me. Nice deep breath, please. Let's go. Here we go. My collective pantheon of angels, goddesses, gods, masters. Oh, right. We're using divine feminine, divine masculine for these readings. Has nothing to do with bodily gender. Thank you for reminding me. So you get to figure out intuitively whether you are the divine feminine on this side, the divine masculine on this side. Just an easier way to differentiate between 2 souls in a soulmate contract. But it might also be both. You could resonate with both because we are all divine masculine and divine feminine, right? Percentage balance, right? I consider myself like 51% divine feminine, right? 49, I guess, percent divine masculine on a good day. On a good day. Cool. So we're going to start with the Caroline Myss archetype cards, 1 for the divine feminine, 1 for the divine masculine. These represent the soul powers being developed individually, or like I said, perhaps both sides are you. The soul powers that you are alchemizing from lead to gold, developing from shadow to light. Cool, cool. Kittens, behave yourself. Kittens, they're all huge. They're meatloaf, football, medicine ball cats. My boys, do not start fighting over the food. There's plenty of it. Motherhood. Here we go. Breathe. My collective pantheons. Here we go. Of angels, goddesses, gods, masters, and the higher selves of all involved. Please, one card for the divine feminine in this Scorpio collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign soulmate contract. You know the kind I mean. The romantic, sexual, intimate, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise soulmate contract. Please, what is the divine feminine archetype? I'm going to put that down there. Not even going to look at it because I want the same as long as we're here. For the divine masculine, same thing. The divine masculine in this Scorpio collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Satisfying, sexual, sensual, romantic, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, soulmate, contract. Please, what's his archetype? All right. Remember, we're not talking about bodily gender. I'll say that over and over and over again. Like I said, I identify primarily as a divine feminine. I'm a professional intuitive. I'm a witch. I pray to the goddess every day. Not that the god gets left out of it, but, you know, using overtone purple for brown in my hair. I'm wearing mascara and eyeliner and pressed powder because nobody needs to be shiny on YouTube and not be able to see their eyelashes, right? Plenty of lifetimes as a woman. So we're getting it. We're not talking about bodily gender. I never intend ever to misgender anybody, not in this world. Please, you'll get canceled so fast your crown chakra will spin. So let's have a look. What's going on with the divine feminine? Interesting. The liberator archetype. What do we got for the divine masculine? The damsel. That's interesting. I've been seeing a lot of juxtaposition of divine, this is literally the feminine family of archetypes in the divine masculine position. But the liberator archetype, I believe, is the action family, and action tends to be more yang, more masculine. So an interesting little juxtaposition there, but there we go, the balancing of the polarities within each. That's a trend that's going on. We're all finding our own yin-yang balance for health, right? To be mentally, emotionally, right? The mental is the divine masculine, the emotional, the divine feminine, bringing that into congruence so that we can make choices and decisions that honor both, right? Congruency. So all archetypes are neutral, lead and gold, shadow and light, written on the cards. I'm going to read those individually, and then we are going to clarify. So, for my Scorpios, if you are the divine feminine in this, the shadow attribute, imposing your own tyranny over those you claim to liberate, ignoring legitimate constraints. So if you're going to like help liberate people, but then keep them tied to you, that is the shadow side, as well as ignoring legitimate constraints. Like I always say to people, yes, I do spiritual counseling with people a lot, like every day a lot. That's why I'm not cranking out as many videos as I usually would, because I'm taking a lot of clients. This is a tricky time of the year. Some of them are on medications prescribed to them from their psychiatrists, their medical care professionals. I'm like, stay on your meds. But I'm feeling so much better. I go, not on my watch. Well, feel better on my watch, but that's a legitimate constraint. It's like, you just don't come off medication. You must be wise. You must be loving to your body. Do not throw your body into shock like that, right? It's a horrible thing to do, and it's certainly not being loving to yourself. So that's what I mean about you got to honor legitimate constraints here. That, for instance, you may want to liberate somebody so much, but they might not be ready to be liberated to the extent you want them liberated. Where is the love, right? So you get the shadow side of that, the light side. Freeing yourself and others from outmoded beliefs, releasing negative thought patterns. And so, you know, if you think of that as a mental emotional thing, like I'm going to free myself from limiting thought patterns. What are limiting thought patterns? Fears, right? The break chains of illusion and set all things to right, reveal what has been hidden and bring the truth to light. A brilliant spell I wrote. Okay, it's a little bit of a ripoff of a charmed spell, but I'm verbal. You give me a spell in rhyme and meter, I will make that fucker work. For me, at least. So, you know, so there that is. It's about breaking chains of illusion, breaking chains of fear. Do that for you if you're the divine feminine here in this Scorpio soulmate contract. And then, of course, whoever it is that you are in relationship with, regardless of whether it's this contract or not, you're still helping each other heal. Every time one of us is freed and liberated, because of the quantum nature of this world. Talk about fifth dimensional unity consciousness. We're not all connected. We're all one thing. There's a difference, right? That as we heal, all heal. As we liberate ourselves, we are all liberated. Even if it seems there's such a little teeny tiny bit much, that little teeny tiny bit of liberation that you've contributed to the whole of humanity, all of life, may save lives that you'll have no idea about. Cool, cool. Let's look at the divine masculine here. Now, the damsel archetype, again, feminine family of archetypes. I could see, you know, someone who's really over-identified with their masculine energy, being a little offended, a little triggered by that, but actually listen to the soul power that's being developed here. It's fantastic. The shadow attribute, waiting for a knight, K-N-I-G-H-T, to provide for you. Seduction by romantic illusions. And I think that's great that this card showed up in this position, because we're often looking at the divine feminine as one with romantic illusions. Well, that's not really accurate, is it? Right? We've all been sold romantic illusions, not just since day one, but lifetime after lifetime. Keeping in mind that romance probably didn't exist in caveman times, right? In times of intense survival where it's very root chakra, like food, clothing, shelter. Then came second chakra sexuality, right? Wanting to procreate. It took a while before romantic illusions along with them came along with the heart chakra. So think of it as stages of development throughout the development of humanity, human evolution, spirit and form, souls incarnating, right? Always moving it forward in each lifetime. So, you know, we all want to be rescued romantically, don't we? It's like all you have to do is go through one heartbreak once, let alone if you've had a series of them. You want someone to come and sweep you off your feet, because it's nice, because it is the receptive part of you. So the divine masculine here, get that. It's okay to acknowledge that. Yeah, I do want someone to come and rescue me from my own boredom, from my own tedium, from my own whatever. Get me out of this house. Get me out of my loop. Get me out of my circuit. But waiting for someone to do that, right? That's the word, waiting for a knight to come and rescue you, right? And being seduced, seduction by romantic illusions. That, the more you're able and willing to say, okay, that's probably in me because it's in the collective, right? Holographic reality. Let me try and move this into the gold, right? The light attribute, which is understanding the nature of healthy romance inspires you to rely on yourself. And that's what these particular readings are for. Happy, healthy, wealthy, wise romance, right? A romantic, sexual, intimate partnership. We haven't seen a lot of it modeled for us, except maybe in fiction, right? I don't know too many people who have a consistent, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, sexual, romantic relationship, but I know people who are both committed to it in partnerships to work it out, and it's not always pretty, right? So in this sense, the damsel learns to rely upon herself, to love herself, to rescue herself, like the movie Ever After, Drew Barrymore, of all the Cinderella stories. That's my favorite. Cool, cool. So a liberator and a damsel. We're off to the races. We are going to clarify the Divine Feminine Liberator with 5 cards from the Daughters of the Moon Tarot. Element spread, fire, earth, air, water, spirit. I'll call it out as I go. We're going to lay them down face down anyway, right? So please breathe. Oh, nothing like that breath. Oh, my goddesses, please. 5 cards. Element spread. For this Divine Feminine Liberator archetype in this Scorpio collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, soulmate contract, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, romantic, intimate, sexual, partnership contract, please. For this Divine Feminine, power of fire, what does she want? Power of earth, what does she have to get her what she wants, like the wax and wick of a candle? What is it that she's thinking about what she wants? Element of air, element of water, what is she feeling about what she wants? An element of spirit, what is the point of view of the soul, the overlighting overview of spirit? Lovely. What does she want? Element of fire, her choices, her desires. What does she choose? Well, victory. She wants forward motion, right? Good old Seven of Flames. I love the Daughters of the Moon Tarot. These women not only have fire in their hands, or they're like, let's go, let's do this, but they're galloping on horses that are galloping on cooling lava, which means that they cannot see it beneath the surface. Everything is moving them in a certain direction, right? So they still have to, you know, take the steps. You still have to take physical action. You still have to take the journey. But even the earth under your feet, right? The molten magma is moving everything along in a way that you're not even aware of, that the five senses may not be able to determine. Lovely. Who doesn't want victory? There's lightning crashing in this card, so a lot of light, a lot of fire, a lot of truth, a lot of passion moving forward. So if that is the candle flame, what is the wick and the wax, the earth, the fuel? Well, here we've got another fire card. Three of Wands, Three of Flames in this deck, loyalty. So ultimately, if the Divine Feminine has loyalty to her, to the Divine first, God, Goddess first, here's the loyalty structure that works. The Divine first, God, Goddess, then you, take care of you. Loyalty to the gods, to the Divine first, then to you, then to friends, family, and lovers, right? So at best, even your true love soulmate contract is third, because you always want to put the Divine first, right? That is where we come from, that we are spirit before we're human, right? We are energy before we are matter, however you want to split that up. Soul before we take on a personality, right? We're incarnating souls. We were chosen to play these roles. So always put the Divine first. Like, I start my day with prayer, meditation, something. Even it's just like, oh dear God, help me get up the fuck out of bed, right? It's always in prayer, and I'm allowed to curse. I don't know why, but I am. But God's like it for some reason. Then you take care of you. Loyalty to yourself, right? Loyalty, your self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-boundaries, self-love, self-respect, self-approval, on and on and on and on, right? Like feeding yourself, bathing yourself, taking care of your own needs. Then your cup is so full, it is easier, right, to have loyalty for friends, for family, because you're not running at a deficit. And that last category is work, right? Work, what you have to actually physically do in the world. And really those first three you can do before you kind of even get out of bed in terms of your loyalty structure. So there's something here about the Divine Feminine really having that sense of loyalty. But may it really be because as a liberator, in alignment with that which liberates us, which is spirit, which is the divine, which is the love with a capital L that transcends all form. That's the truth of who we are, right? What is she thinking about all this, her element of air? Well, there we go. We've got the card of justice, Ma'at, the Egyptian goddess of justice that you meet after death, who weighs your heart against an ostrich feather, at least in this interpretation. If your heart is heavier than the ostrich feather, depending on which translation of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, your heart and soul either gets devoured by a demon, not so much in my opinion, or you reincarnate. You have to come back around and do it again. I don't know how accurate that is. I don't remember. I don't remember what happened after my last death, except, fuck, I'm back, right? So what is that? What is she thinking? She is thinking about being fair. She is thinking about that she wants a contract, that she wants something level and balanced and fair and just, right? Particularly with all that loyalty that she already has. So if you are the Divine Feminine in this, really keep in mind that you haven't just signed this contract, so to speak, with the Divine Masculine. You have signed this contract with the Divine, right? And therefore your willingness to really be loyal to your own ethics, to your own virtues, that your conduct, your behavior in this and any other relationship matches your highest virtue, your highest wisdom. That's what shows the Divine we're ready. It's just true, right? You don't wound people who are wounded and who wound you. Right? It's like, do unto others, you know what I mean. What is she feeling about this, her element of water? Well, you know, I gotta say there's a lot of fire. This is the third fire card. For 5 cards, it's a lot. We still got one more to go. But here we're looking at the Two of Flames, which, yes, can indicate a little bit of indecision. Although indecision tends to be a mental thing, this is more about Mahuea, right? Volcano goddess, fire in the hands. And we also have fire in the hands here with what's wanted. So we go from a 2 to a 7. So she's really feeling, it's like, well, I want to do this, but I really want to do this. And hence that process of the 3, going from the 2 to the 3, in terms of really getting her loyalty priorities in order. It's like, well, I really want that passionate, healthy sex life, and at the same time, I really want it healthy. Like, I want healthy romance. Like, codependent, no more, right? Codependence, it's just all about boundaries. And, you know, I'm working this new KAHN healing mantra deck. I'm not going to integrate it into these readings because, as I said, I did the unboxing. If you want to go watch it, I'll probably pop that link. I should pop that link in the description box anyway, because I'm going to start using them. Hold on one second. We've got feline shenanigans. Thank you for bearing with me there, because it gave me the opportunity while I was dealing with cats. They just get very territorial for some reason when I work. I did grab the KAHN healing mantra deck and pulled out one card in particular called Unraveling Codependency, because they like dropped that thought into my head. Kitty started acting up. I'm like, oh, I see why they're doing this, right? So the mantra for unraveling codependency is, only I have to feel good about my choices. Says, write it on the card. Only I have to feel good about my choices, right? That's how we begin unraveling our codependent patterns, because there are things we want to do, choices we want to make, and here she is in this feeling. It's like, well, I want to do this and I want to do that, but what if they don't like it, and what will they think, and what will they think? People don't understand that codependent relationships are as toxic as a relationship with drugs or alcohol or any other thing. They are as destructive. The effects usually take longer, because if someone's shooting heroin, it's just different. In other words, time versus intensity, right? Where the subtlety of codependence, really, it's not love. It's actually a disguised form of hatred. That you end up really hating each other, but really who you're angry at is yourself for not being okay with your own decisions, right? Only I have to feel good about my choices. Only I have to feel good about my choices, and I have no idea if you can see what's written on that card. But it was nice to have those handy, and I'm really glad that the boys, for once, my angels, created a little delay there so I could do that. One more card for the Divine Feminine, then we'll do the same thing for the Divine Masculine. Well, here we go. Major Arcana card from the place of the soul, the spirit. The overview is the card of the witch, the magician. So the Divine Feminine here is manifesting, is in the process of channeling down from the divine this higher vibrational reality, bringing it into third dimension. Look, unity consciousness, fifth dimensional reality. Think like the 8th chakra and above, right? It's about taking the unity of who we are, the true love. That's why I do these Path of True Love readings separate from the soulmate readings, that it's the path, it's the spiritual path that life just kind of kicks the crap out of us, making us the best that we can be. Or as Angelo, the artist, not the turtle, when asked how he created the David, he said, I didn't create the David. God created the David. I chipped away the excess marble. That's what life does. It chips away at all of the rough edges. Sometimes it's a subtle, gentle buffing, and sometimes it's TNT. So this Divine Feminine incarnating that, yes, there's all sorts of changes, but she really wants to ride this tide of victory, because otherwise you've got a lot of fire. She's really wanting something healthy, but in that emotional thing, she's like, well, I want to do this. So there might be some codependent attachments and threads there that she's sort of processing before moving into her next relationship contract, particularly if it's soulmate. Because soulmates, you come together to help each other heal that shit. Let's look at the Divine Masculine Damsel here. Same thing, but with the Mythic Tarot by Juliet Sharman Burke. So, please, my gods. 5 cards in total. Elements spread. Fire, earth, air, water, spirit for this Divine Masculine. Sun, Scorpio. For the Divine Masculine in this Scorpio collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, satisfying soulmate contract, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, romantic, sexual soulmate contract, please. Element of fire, what does he want? Face down. Element of earth, what has he got to help him get what he wants? Element of air, what does he think about all of this? What does element of water he feel about all of this? And element of spirit, what is the point of view of the soul, the spirit, the overview? Let's look. For this divine masculine damsel archetype, well, what he wants, very interesting. Capricorn has been coming up a lot with these soulmate reads in both decks. In terms of what they want something long-term, right? Saturnian. Now, whether or not there is an actual Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Pluto, who the hell cares, then that's great. That's a wonderful clarifier, but it need not be. This is really more about wanting something stable, long-term. Creative earth. Capricorn is the mountain goat. So think of the mountains, something that was formed, right, with tectonic plates. Whether did it happen all at once, did it happen over time, but it's there, and the mountain has been there, and life grows in it and on it and through it. So, you know, not even mountain goats run up a mountain. It's slow and steady wins the race. So where here the divine feminine might be like, yeah, move it, yeah, horse, yeah, right? Giddy up. The divine masculine might be more like, okay, well, I want that. I want this very much, but I want it slow, and I want it stable, and I want it firm, right? Don't we all want it a little firm? I want it substantial. I want it satisfying, and it's worth taking the time. Slow and steady wins the race on this. So we've got a lot of fire here, but with this damsel, perhaps fallen victim to romantic delusions, been betrayed, been lied to, false hope, all of that, heartbreak, that, you know, wanting that King of Pentacles, that more stable, foundational thing, particularly for a divine masculine that's lovely to see. What has he got? What is the element of earth to help him get this King of Pentacles, which is in the position of fire? The Magician, which in this deck is the Witch. So they have that in common. So from the soul perspective, the divine feminine is already doing this. She may not be aware of it. Here, the divine masculine is aware of it, is being, here's an interesting word I don't use a lot, procedural, right? Getting his thoughts, his desires, his emotions, and his actions, his conduct in alignment with spirit. Air, fire, water, earth, spirit, right? Getting all of his faculties together. Now, whether there is actual magic involved in here, I'll tell you, love spells are the most dangerous form of magic I've ever come across. Why? Because they involve the human heart and human emotions. However, that does not mean that spiritual practice, spell work, prayer, meditation cannot be of such a heart-opening, heart-centered, heart-focused path and process that it allows us to evolve in a way that activates certain contracts to come into our lives for fulfillment. Now, I don't talk about completing contracts because who knows when they complete. When you die, I don't know. Sometimes they carry over into other lives if it's with certain souls, reincarnational agreements. But you can fulfill them for a lifetime. You can fulfill them for a relationship. So it feels like, being that this is the card number 1 in the Major Arcana, the 0 is the Fool, right? So this is really, has got his stuff together, has his tools, has his supplies, has his getting his act together to take it on the road, as it were. Good element of earth, particularly if what he wants is something stable, has what he needs in its elementary form, and I mean the elements air, fire, water, earth, and spirit. What's he thinking about this? His element of air? Well, 2 of Swords. Interesting interplay with the divine feminine's 2 of Flames and emotion. Here in his thoughts, he's doing the 2 of Swords, and there we really are looking at indecision here. Definitely damned if I do, damned if I don't know what to do, don't know. A good time to gather information, perhaps, but really hard time making a mental clarity-based decision here, which is usually the divine masculine's MO, right? Modus operandi. To do it through the mental field rather than through the intuitive and the emotional. So let's look at what's going on in the element of water here. And we've got the card of the World. Now, this card has not come up in this Mythic Tarot since I've started using this deck about a month or so ago. Here we have Hermaphrodite, literally the child of Hermes and Aphrodite, which is both masculine and feminine. The world, completion, with the Ouroboros swallowing its tail, the snake, that serpent that swallows its own tail, surrounded by a wand, a cup, a pentacle, and a sword, right? So there is something about completion here. My sense is that emotionally, this does make sense, that the divine masculine has gained wisdom here. May not know intellectually whether shit or go blind, right? May not have any idea what the fuck is next. If you're the divine masculine here, I'm going to tell you something. Make peace with uncertainty. Men, the masculine energy has been for centuries expected to know when we don't. And what happens when we do that? We fall into illusions and delusions because we think we know. Where uncertainty is just part of the mystical path, right? Mystery, mysticism, all of that stuff. Soulmates, true love, all of that is a mystical contract involving the divine. You have no idea what the divine has in mind, let alone what the divine plan is for anything in this world. And boy, when we think we do, often we're so very, very, very wrong because we forget that humility is essential. Oh, read my book, Words of Grace. The first grace I talk about is the grace of humility, what I call the maiden grace, connected to the maiden goddess. Oh, great maiden goddess, please grant me the grace of humility to know that I do not know, but I am willing to be shown. So I don't make assumptions, right? Very four agreements. So I don't listen to the fiction that the limbic brain, right? The limbic brain, the reptilian brain will just keep coming up with these stories just to feel like it has control when it's so very wrong most of the time, right? So this is saying intuitionally, emotionally, a real sense of completion and wholeness, regardless of what this divine masculine has survived to get to this point. There is deep emotional wisdom here, but the mind completely indecisive, not clear, not sure. Do take your time, slow it down, hence this slow and steady wins the race. Because what they both have in common here with this magician card, they're both wanting the same thing. The speed at which seems to be tricky, but they both have a nice balance of major arcana cards. Let's flip over this last one, the card of spirit, the card of soul, which is another major arcana card. Card of the tower, Poseidon, the earth shaker, not just the god of the oceans and the waters, the earth shaker. So the soul has been struck by lightning. There is an enlightenment, a truth, a rapid, sudden change that has probably ended something for this divine masculine recently. The tower, I mean, it's not like the death card. Death is about, you know, going to ashes and rising from them. It's the phoenix transformation. And it's not the wheel of fortune, which is something that is scheduled and something cyclic. The tower is instantaneous, and it's often about belief system. I think it's the easiest way to explain it. I use this example a lot when I teach tarot. If someone doesn't believe in ghosts, right? Oh, ghosts, all that paranormal stuff, it's just horseshit, right? And then they fucking see one. Well, what happened to the belief system? Oh, there's no such thing as ghosts. It's gone in a second, right? Poof, done, right? And the world is going through that right now with racism, with misogyny, with transgender issues. We're all having our old belief systems, which were based on faulty premises, destroyed. Necessary for human evolution, so we all don't fucking kill each other, right? Finding unity consciousness, fifth dimensional awareness that it's not just that we need to save the planet. We are the planet, right? We are one with it. It's not something that we are stewards of. It is an extension of our energy field. It's the truth of who we are. We're all one, right? See how that sort of fifth dimensional unity consciousness awareness destroys old paradigms, destroys old belief systems, and can really literally rock someone's world. It is Poseidon, the god of earthquakes. So certainly an emotional, mental shake up here. But with that card of the world in the emotional place, it feels like there is some stability there, though there probably was a rapid, instant end to either an emotional process, right, an emotional condition, if we want to use that word, a belief system in place that was entrenched, just bang, gone, or possibly both. Shaking up this divine masculine, certainly having some romantic illusions destroyed in play. Cool, cool? What we're going to do now, sorry, I picked up one of my kittens before and I got cat hair on my face. It's tickling my nose. We're going to use the Whispers of Love Oracle for the voice of the higher selves of all involved. One for the divine feminine, one for the divine masculine. Please breathe along with me. Ah, so lovely. The higher selves of all involved, please. One card in clarity for this divine feminine liberator. Isn't that interesting? Divine masculine damsel might very well be waiting for a divine feminine liberator instead of a knight, K-N-I-G-H-T. Please, the higher selves of all involved, one card, a whisper of love, please, for the higher selves of all involved, for this divine feminine liberator archetype in this Scorpio collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, soulmate, satisfying, sexual, romantic, intimate, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, soulmate contract. Same thing, please, for the divine masculine. The divine masculine damsel archetype in this Scorpio collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, satisfying, soulmate, sexual, romantic, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, soulmate contract. One card, whisper of love. For the divine feminine, the liberator, we've got be supportive, make a genuine effort to show you care, which it feels like she's into. Even if that's showing it to herself if these two have not met yet, right? Like really being loyal to the divine, loyal to the self, being supportive, showing that she cares about herself, showing that she cares about the path, showing that she cares about taking every step, even though she wants victory, and there's a lot of fire here, that she's really, really careful emotionally about the decisions that she makes to be supportive. Like, for example, loving what rises when she gets impatient. It's okay to be impatient, honey. It's okay. We're not going to act on it because it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right, but it's okay. Like that inner child stuff. If you see the heart as the inner child, whether you're divine masculine or divine feminine, then you can really be the best parent, even if you never had that behavior modeled to you. You want to break ancestral patterns? You want to break family patterns? Do things your family has never done. Talk to your own heart. Let yourself cry when you need to cry. Let that child inside be frustrated. Because really, I could feel the possibility with this card of victory, what she wants, but this Two of Flames, gas brake, not sure what I want, that can be a little gear grindy, right? So be supportive, divine feminines. For the divine masculine, we've got look at your pattern in relationships, particularly that the Tower card and the World card have shown their faces here. Then look at your pattern in relationships. It requires inner strength to recognize that you need to change or modify your behavior. Look at your patterns in relationship. Divine masculine damsel here. If this is a repeat, if you are coming out of a repetitive situation, perfect time to perhaps be the damsel in the tower, right? Damsels are rescued by knights, put in castle towers to be protected. Sometimes the divine does that for us. Rapunzel. Technically that was a witch. Another story. Gets all tangled. Oh, look, I gave you a Disney reference. Aren't you thrilled? To look at your relationship patterns. Take this time to really look at perhaps the codependence that you've dealt with, any addictive patternings within yourself based on illusion. Because sometimes we will miss the biggest red flags because we want what's being offered even if it's not actually there. It sucks, it's horrible, but if we can learn, then there's no need for regret, right? If we can really learn, it's like, that is my blind spot, and I may hit that blind spot and miss that blind spot and miss these red flags again and again and again. But if I am really willing to learn, to heal, to grow, to take the path and trust that all of this is to a greater end, that better things are always coming, then the regret, the shame, the guilt need not be so horrible. But it does feel like with that Tower of the card that there was an abrupt enlightenment here, which sounds nice on paper and on cardboard, but not so much fun in life, right? One card left. We're going to do a Journey of Love Oracle. I'm going to read it right from the book. These cards are lovely. Just one to clarify the entire contract. So let's do that now. Please breathe with me. One more. Oh, okay, just one more. It feels so good. Oh, we start with the collective pantheons, we end with the collective pantheons. Please, my angels, goddesses, gods, masters, and the higher selves of all involved, please, one card in clarity, a Journey of Love Oracle card for this Scorpio collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Satisfying soulmate contract is happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, sexual, romantic contract, please. One card in clarity. Please outpicture, please show us the current state of this Scorpio soulmate contract. There we go. What card do we got here? Intimacy. Feels like y'all going to be meeting soon if you haven't yet. Card number 35. 3 and 5 is an 8. Intimacy. It's such a pretty card. This one has come up before. I like this card. Well, who wouldn't? Right? Happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, sexual, intimate, romantic relationship. Literally in the call for the card. Intimacy. Ready? Nice deep breath. Your vulnerability is the key to your growing spirituality. Like, write that down. Your vulnerability. What does it take to be vulnerable? Process. It takes the path. It's little by little. Now is the time to share yourself openly without pretense or defensiveness. Definitely feeling that for the divine feminine. The divine masculine might be a little iffy. Let down the barriers that have held you apart from another damsel in a castle, from the divine, from the world, and let yourself be held by the experiences of your life without needing to defend against them. Expect nothing and be open to receive everything. Your vulnerability is your way forward now. You are learning that you have enough strength to truly surrender. You are brave enough to allow yourself to be truly lived, L-I-V-E-D, by the divine. Not just loved, lived by the divine. And remember, we were dreamed into reality by the all that is. The divine wanted to be you so much. It dreamed you into life. So everything that you want is the divine wanting experience as you. Completely. I don't like using the word entitled, but you are certainly worthy of everything that you want. And there is great purpose in wanting what you want. You have every right to want what you want to get in this life. You may or may not get it, but everything that happens is to prepare you to be the best that you can be, whether or not you get what you want in the nuts and bolts of it all, right? And that's just how it is. I mean, I can refer to the lives of so many spiritual masters that we know of, although the billions that we don't, right? How many of them actually got what they wanted? I mean, Moses didn't make it to the promised land, but still, Moses, right? Oh, I could go on and on and on. Some of them got to achieve what they wanted to achieve. Gandhi liberated India, right, from British occupation, right? I forget the exact name of that, but you know what I mean. But still, assassinated, right? So you're in really good company if you haven't gotten what you wanted, but you're still, be vulnerable. Now is the time to experience it and trust that whether you get what you want or not, you're going to get what you need. The message of this oracle is that you have recently opened yourself up in new ways. Definitely with that card of the world, the card of the tower, the card of justice, right? The major arcana cards here, the card of the witch, all really saying that. The message of this oracle is that you have recently opened yourself up in new ways to meet the world and your loved ones, or are considering doing so in order to share something of yourself with another. Do it, it says right in the book. Do it. You are ready to be seen and received more than ever before. Here's the poem. I love that they give poetry in this. Intimacy. Becoming one. Allowing all that is both within and without to blend. Like a wave meeting the shore, each aspect of who we are is part of a grander whole. And in truth, yet greater still. To know myself is to know you, whether I look in your eyes, or touch your lips, or hold hands, or bathe in the warmth of our embrace. This is about the divine wanting to experience this happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, soulmate, contract, intimate, romantic, sexual, intimate, romantic, sexual, in physical form, so much that it dreamed the two of you up. So much that it put you through lifetime after lifetime and all of these experiences, probably turbulent, twin flame, transformative, really sucky, hard relationships, learning how to love yourself, how to heal yourself, so that now you are being presented the opportunity for a real, intimate, sexual, romantic contract. Cool, cool. Let's give you your overview. Say it with me. Magic clap. We start with the Divine Feminine with the Liberator archetype. In the shadow, imposing your own tyranny over those you claim to liberate, ignoring legitimate constraints, alchemizing into the light, freeing yourself and others from outmoded beliefs, releasing negative thought patterns. What does she want to help that along? Seven of Flames, victory. Absolutely, the Liberator would want victory over releasing negative thought patterns, helping others let go of outmoded beliefs. Has an intense loyalty for that in the element of earth. Loyalty to the divine, hopefully, is the number one. Loyalty to self, hopefully, number two. And then loyalty to help liberate everyone else that crosses their path as they are willing. You know, you got to be honorable about that and let people be where they are. But it feels like with Ma'at, the card in the mind, that this is wanting to be done fair. This is a mental approach of what is just, what is fair, what is balanced, and what is heart-centered, compassionate. It's just not like burning down the village to set people free. That there is something more gentle, more loving, more heart-centered about this. But in the emotional field, we have the Two of Flames, that creative energy, but perhaps a little unsure of where best to apply it, with the overall positioning of the witch, the magician in the soul, saying that all of this is already predetermined by the divine, just to be a channel, right? To allow this to incarnate through the divine feminine, with the voice of the higher self saying, be supportive, make a genuine effort to show you care. For the divine masculine, we've got the damsel archetype here in the shadow, waiting for a knight to provide for you. Seduction by romantic illusions, alchemizing that into understanding the nature of healthy romance, inspiring you to rely on yourself, which does make sense that what they want is that King of Pentacles. Yes, of course they want the relationship, but they want their foundation to be mountain stable, right? As stable as a mountain, something fertile, something that allows growth. Things can grow on it, things can grow in it. This is King Midas, by the way, in this card. So that everything that they touch be of high worth, be transmuted into gold. Very alchemical in that. What does he have to do that? The element of earth, the card of the magician, really sharpened sword, right? The mind has been sharpened. The wand is set afire. A healthy, solid cup and a nice, stable pentacle there, being the divine lightning rod, just like the divine feminine is in the soul position. The divine masculine here has this in their element of earth, so really has everything that he needs to manifest what is wanted here. In the mental field, there is the Two of Swords, which does match the divine feminine's Two of Flames in the emotional field, but that's to be expected. That this is feels like a new beginning in play. If they have met, then it's like the baby steps are being taken, but let them be taken slow and steady. Because the divine masculine here, regardless of what's going on mentally, emotionally has the card of the world. That sense of completion, that sense of happy completion of something that was scripted, completed, and getting ready to reboot, again with the jumping off the cliff of the Fool. But the overlighting here of a message from the soul, the spirit, is the Tower. That there might still be some radical enlightenment, instantaneous change happening, some divine intervention going down. Remember, the Tower isn't always a negative thing. In fact, it's always positive, seen in retrospect, sometimes 20, 30 years in retrospect, but it is seen as, yes, even that was here to help me. And the message from the higher self for the divine masculine is, look at your pattern in relationships. It requires inner strength to recognize that you need to change or modify your own behavior. And with that card of the world in the emotional sphere, for the divine masculine, it does feel like has the inner strength to do that, but just wants that King of Pentacles slow and steady wins the race. And let's keep in mind the journey of love here, this intimacy. These two are being called together, but there is vulnerability needed here. It feels like the divine feminine liberator might very well be able to help the divine masculine damsel here do that intimacy, where she kind of wants victory at all costs here, needs to really be careful about the approach. Divine feminine, just know that this divine masculine damsel, yes, has been hurt, but is certainly well underway in their healing process, their emotional healing. Who knows if we're ever really complete with that, but with that card of the world, that this is something worth taking time to build something happy, healthy, wealthy, wise in a romantic, sexual, intimate, soulmate, satisfying, symbiotic, soothing, soul-feeding soulmate contract. So there we have it. My Scorpio's very deep reading. Can't beat it. I mean, that card of the Tower there, that is pretty scorpionic. Looking here for you all. But it really does feel wonderful. And there's some real coordinates of guidance and grace in here for you. So considering this is timeless, you might want to watch this. You're watching it now, obviously. You might want to put it in your watch later. Check it in a couple of weeks. Because even though this is time-stamped for December 2019, obviously this is something that has been underway for a while individually, but is going to start finding its legs this month into next. Cool, cool. Well, wishing you the very best and the very blessed in this soulmate contract. May the Scorpio collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs be blessed with all that they need in their soulmate contracts, that they be happy, healthy, wealthy, wise in their establishment, in their manifestation, in their moving forward and onward for the well-being of all. And so it is. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like and subscribe. Wishing you the very best and the very blessed of the rest of the month, the rest of the decade, and moving forward, wishing you the very best of all that life has to offer. Cool, cool. But for now, my darlings, my Scorpios, hail, farewell, and blessed be.